So Battlefield 6 already had a record-breaking launch for the franchise. That much is obvious because the pressure was on, especially from the last game. And players and the community are really cautious about this game. So it's smart that the devs and publisher haven't just launched the game and walked away, because what they're doing right now is they're committing to live service, support, seasons, maps, modes, you name it. We can already see the early signs of a solid plan that's coming up with the Season 1 roadmap because it's clear, structured, and they're communicating it. For example, Season 1 begins October 28th and it's broken into multiple phases rather than dumping everything at once. That kind of transparency builds trust with the community. Players can plan, anticipate, and feel that the game is being supported. Also, it's worth noting that the dev team is actively addressing pain points, removing bot XP farms in portal mode so progression is tied to real player matches, such as removing bot XP farms in portal mode so progression is tied to real player matches, and that builds credibility and shows that the developers are actually listening. So with that context, what exactly is Season 1 doing right? Let's go into some of the key pillars here. One of the biggest strengths of Season 1's plan is that it delivers meaningful content, not just cosmetic changes, but new maps, new modes, new weapons, and they're not gated behind these massive paywalls. That matters for the player's trust and long-term engagement. Season 1 introduces across its roadmap a new map called Blackwell Fields in Phase 1, October 28th, which will have a large open field with vehicles, etc. And a second new map called Eastwood in Phase 2 that comes out November 18th, plus a winter-themed update to Empire State in Phase 3, which is December 9th. New modes will be coming out, for example, Strike Point, which is a 4v4 round-based 1 life per round in Phase 1, and Sabotage Mode in Phase 2, where teams destroy sites and other limited time event content. This kind of varied content is honestly excellent and it's refreshing because players won't be stuck playing the same maps and modes indefinitely because new ones will be coming in. Season 1 will also bring in multiple new weapons, a different carbine, sidearm, shotgun, sniper, and new weapon and gadget / attachments. And that keeps the meta evolving, which is crucial in a competitive multiplayer shooter. If things stagnate, players end up leaving. That's just the reality of things. What's really smart, most of this new core content is free. That's the best part, or earnable by playing for all players, not just premium buyers. For example, the roadmap indicates that all gameplay impacting features will be free or earnable in-game without purchases. That appeals to the wider audience because it keeps the barrier low and reduces alienation of players who don't want to pay extra. Rather than releasing everything at once, the content is split into 3 phases spaced across October, November, and December. I think this is really smart, and it's great for pacing because it gives the players these regular injections of new stuff, which maintains that momentum and encourages them to keep coming back. Why this matters for engagement is because it keeps regular updates, keeps the game alive. Players know that there's something next week or next month, and with these free earnable content, it builds that goodwill and players don't feel locked out. And again, you have the varied content with maps, modes, weapons, which appeals to different playstyles between casual, competitive, vehicle-focused, and infantry-focused modes. Another thing where Battlefield is doing right is focusing on the core experience and building trust with the community. As previously mentioned, Battlefield 6 is making changes so that bot servers in Portal mode no longer count for mastery or challenges. That closes a grind loop exploit and makes progression more meaningful. And by doing this early, the devs are really showing that they're dedicated to a healthy ecosystem, which encourages players to invest time. Because you have to remember, this is not a yearly cycle game, and that's a good thing. People don't want to finish a game that fast and wait for the next game to drop that quickly. I feel like the grind is long, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it actually allows you time to enjoy the game for what it is, rather than waiting for the next fix. There's also reporting that Battlefield 6 omitted ray tracing to prioritize performance and smooth gameplay across platforms. While that's technically a compromise, it's the right compromise in an online shooter because consistent frame rates, reliable servers, fewer hiccups really matter because these hiccups mean that players feel safe committing time in the game. and devs are being transparent with what's coming with the roadmap and details of Season 1 that are already out. These dates are announced, the phases are defined. I mean, that kind of transparency is key for trust. For example, the roadmap clearly lists Rogue Ops coming October 28th, California Resistance November 18th, and Winter Offensive December 9th. Why this matters is because in modern multiplayer shooters, you don't just launch and hope, you must maintain. If you neglect the core experience, the bugs stack up, players leave, word spreads. Here, Battlefield 6 is building the foundation of good performance, stability, fairness, and communication, and those form the trust edge that keeps players around. Further strength that I've been seeing is Battlefield Season 1 content seems to cater to different kinds of players, which is very smart for the community health and longevity. With the introduction of Strike Point, which is a 4v4 round-based 1 life per round mode, it appeals to the players who like tighter matches with the higher skill ceilings and more tactical gunplay. This helps build a scene for a more serious multiplayer with premiums for those who grind, watch, or want to climb up the ladder. The larger maps like Blackwell Fields with vehicles in the open terrain appeal to players who enjoy the big all-out war with the vehicle combat, destruction, etc. And that's been a hallmark of the Battlefield franchise. Having these different map types and player modes really is a smart move because it doesn't just appeal to Battlefield players alone, it appeals to a wide variety of players coming from different games, and that will increase the player count and longevity of the game itself. Battlefield 6 is still emphasizing the infantry plus vehicle plus large-scale warfare as the core. They're not eliminating that, and I know a lot of people are unhappy with Battlefield because they say that it's catering more to Call of Duty players, but let's be honest guys, you want as many players coming into the Battlefield experience as possible. You don't want a dead game. For players who love the tanks, the jets, the helicopters, the open maps, they're still being catered to, while the more compact tactical modes are an additional layer rather than replacing everything. There's different modes for players who want to play those games, and they can go to those modes. Nobody is taking away the core experience of Battlefield. Now let's talk about how to keep the community happy and engaged over time. With this whole introduction of the new weapons, attachments, and modes, the players will have new goals to chase by trying out new gear, mastering these new maps and modes, and that drives that comeback behavior. Players know they'll get that free content just by playing, which removes the whole friction of I paid, now nothing's new. When players feel that the devs are doing things right, such as fixing the progression exploits, delivering on the updates, being transparent, guess what they're gonna do? They're more likely to recommend the game to friends, produce content such as streams and clips, and sustain that whole ecosystem. Multiplayer games thrive when communities are active, generating buzz, and that's what Battlefield 6 is doing right. One of the common issues in live service shooters is huge gaps between updates, or weak updates for that matter even. They really hurt the game because they don't shake things up. Battlefield 6 Season 1 is designed to avoid that, and by launching these new maps, modes, weapons, they're doing exactly that, and they're reducing the risk of the player drop-off. For a healthy community, you need new players to join and veterans to stay engaged. Battlefield 6 is promising free content and varied difficulty, from the whole big scale war to the tactical 4v4, to help on both ends. New players won't feel locked out, and also the players that are veterans of this game will have new challenges and modes to master. Because the core gameplay content is free and earnable, monetization, if present, feels more optional and feels less exploitative. That helps keep the goodwill high. If players feel that everything meaningful is locked behind paywalls, guess what that does? It harms that whole trust and retention. Look guys, I'm genuinely excited about Season 1 of Battlefield 6. With the combination of these freebies, the well-paced updates, the transparency, and catering to the different player sets and styles, it sets a strong foundation for long-term community health. If the devs keep listening, balancing well, pushing updates, and maintaining trust, Battlefield 6 has a very good chance of becoming the go-to large-scale multiplayer shooter for years. But anyways, what feature of Season 1 one are you most looking forward to? Are these things you'd like to see in later seasons? Let me know all of your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell to be notified every single time I upload a video. Now with that being said, this is GCP signing off.